On the day, we get some good news about Kyle Bradish's timeline. We get very bad news about Zach Eflin. He is headed to the IL. Hello, everybody. I'm Jon Leiberman. If you didn't stay up late last night for the Arizona game, the Orioles took a very tough loss in more ways than one. Zack Efflin is headed to the IL. We're going to break that down for you and what it means. We have an update on Kyle Bradish's timeline as well. And again, where does the Orioles starting staff go from here? It's the next man up mentality, but what does that actually mean? Hello, everybody. This is Orioles Digest. I am Jon Leiberman. Please like, subscribe, do all of the things. We are on top of it for you. And unfortunately, we start with not the best of news on this morning, and that is that Zack Eflin is being shut down. He's going to go to the 15-day injured list. He's going to be shut down for at least a week. The actual diagnosis is a low-grade lat strain. That coming from Brandon Hyde after the Orioles' loss in the desert last night. And just to review, if we take a look at the video, that this was Zach walking off the mound seemingly fine in the sixth inning the night before last. Take a look at Zach one more time. Again, seemingly no issues, but he did not come out for the seventh inning. And as I reported yesterday, Brandon Hyde's comments after the game, Zach Eflin's comments after the game, they were not super reassuring to me, using language like fingers crossed and hopeful after the MRI. So Zach gets the MRI, and, you know, he said he woke up the night after pitching, and he said, you know, he felt well. This is obviously his non-pitching. The discomfort was in his non-pitching arm. He said he woke up, he felt fine, but then the MRI obviously showed something, this low-grade lat strain. And, you know, let's hope that it's only a week, but it's a 15-day IL stint for the Orioles ace right now, for the Orioles number one starter. So let's break down where the rotation is, who could possibly replace Eflin, and I use replace in air quotes, and also the latest on Kyle Bradish. So here's where we are with the rotation. As of right now, remembering that arguably the Orioles have now lost, you know, three of their best pitchers. If you think of Kyle Bradish and you think of Grayson and now Zach, you know, we've lost three of our, you know, of our great pitchers. So here we are with Charlie Morton, Dean Kramer, Tomoyuki Sugano, Cade Povich, and of course Kyle Gibson's back on a one-year contract, but he is not quite ready for major league action yet. Gibson is going to make his first start on Thursday in the minors. So you look at the starters, and what I would say to you in terms of the starting pitching is, you know, and this is StatCast, the starting pitching has not been that bad. It was a big worry. Of course, Eflin was pitching lights out. But if you look at StatCast and you look at where the Orioles are, the only real, you know, problem signs are Cionel Perez. Otherwise, the bullpen's been amazing. And Charlie Morton giving up a lot of hard hit balls, but really Charlie Morton hasn't been bad. His ERA is bad, but if you actually think of his stats, look, Morton's ERA is approaching 9, but he's striking out a lot of guys. He has 17 strikeouts to lead the club. He hasn't been terrible. You know, Cade Povich, an elevated ERA, but again, hasn't been terrible. And these guys haven't gotten run support in their loss. Zach Eflin, amazing with the 3 ERA, 18 innings pitched, 6 runs, just absolutely looking great. Even Dean Kramer with the 6.5 ERA, he's looked pretty solid in his 9 2/3 innings pitched. And Sugano's last start, you know, look, you know, say whatever you want, but Sugano is now going to have to step up at least in the next week or two and really be the ace that the Orioles need. And if he throws like he did last week, or last start rather, then I think we're looking at a pretty good scenario. Now, about the rotation. The Orioles have days off on Thursday and Monday, so hypothetically, they could get by with the 4 starters that I just alluded to for about probably into the latter part of next week, probably. But if it goes any further than that, what options do we have? What I like to call, where do we go now? So if you take Kyle Gibson out of the mix, you have Brandon Young really as the only kind of depth starter. I am a huge, as you all know, and let's take a look at Brandon. As you know, I am an absolutely huge Brandon Young fan. I would like to see this young man get a start at the major league level. He's only allowed 2 unearned runs, struck out 11 over his first 2 AAA starts this year. He's been outstanding. He has good stuff. He throws hard. I'd love to see him up the bigs. But if we go back to the where do we go now, Brandon Young, then you have Thaddeus Ward, who is, he's a Rule 5, and he's working out of the Norfolk rotation as well. Again, more of a wild card. Made a bunch of relief appearances for the Nationals a couple years ago, and now he's coming back. And then you have Cody Poteet and Ronzi Contreras, who are both working out of the bullpen in AAA. They both have a little bit, some starting experience, but these are not great options for the moment. But I would say, and I want to hear from you, I would like to see Brandon Young back. I would like to see Brandon Young in the majors and give the kid a shot and see what he can do. If this Eflin injury stretches out longer, then obviously the Orioles are going to have to look to make another move for somebody to slide in or buy more time while Kyle Gibson gets healthy enough to come in. So let me know in the comments what you want to see, what you think about the Zach injury. Are you hopeful about Grayson? I want to end with a tiny bit of hopeful news, and the hopeful news comes with some great reporting from Rock Kubatko about Kyle Bradish, and the headline that the Orioles get good news on Bradish's recovery timeline. Some good reporting basically saying that Bradish, I don't want to say should, but could very well be back at some point after the All-Star break. Now the question becomes then how long to ramp up, how long to get him back into the rotation, but at least a good headline on a day that is soured not only with an Orioles loss, but also with the news of Zach Eflin going on the 15-day IL. This is Orioles Digest. I'm Jon Leiberman.